One on health. We have quite a number of properties that belong and are meant to be clinics, hospitals. We've got from level 1s all the way upwards. So the issue is how we can be able to maximize the usage of these and how that can be able to be user-friendly to the public as well. We're looking at ways that we can be able to say that economies of scale, how purchase of medicine and non-medical items as well can be centralized so that the county government, all its facilities can have a low rate in terms of purchasing of those. We also want to see in terms of disease patterns in every area, a situation where how we can be able to now use existing facilities. And the first facility, whether in Likoni we need to have a possibility of having one unit being able to be transformed into just maternity, and these are just examples that I'm providing to you. And then thereafter as well, in terms of the level of workforce. So if at all we need to employ doctors or clinical officers or nurses, where they should be deployed in every one of these areas. And the composition of this for the health will be chaired by Dr. Chibanzi, I think, who is someone who has been in Mombasa for a while, Mochonda. And then we'll have a representative from the Kenya Medical Association. We'll have a representative from the civil society, a representative from the National Hospital Insurance Fund as well, because one of the things that we want to achieve and attain is health coverage for our people. These are some of the things that we promised in our manifesto. Sixth, community health volunteers, one drawn from every sub-county. The reason for this is they are the first people who are the point of seeing the patients, and then they're also extremely vital when it comes to issues to do with prenatal and postnatal care as well, issues to do with vaccinations. And then we're going to have the Chief Officer, Department of Medical Services, Public Health, Coast General Officer, and the County Secretary and the current Chief of Staff in the Office of the Governor. So those are the issues, and the terms of reference are very, very clearly defined. They will start meeting, and we are hoping that they will be able to provide us with this report in a period of about 30 days or less, where we'll come up with recommendations on how we should be able to overhaul the health sector in Mombasa County. And we want to look at ways that we're going to have long-lasting solutions. So this is something that is going to be included in our long-term strategy planning. The things that need to be done on short-term will be done on short-term as well. Then the next one, we have the Finance Task Force. Now, we're having a big issue right now. I've seen people asking us about pending bills. I've seen people asking us that the inspectorate is harassing them and they cannot be able to do businesses. I've seen people telling us a lot of things in matters of finance. So this particular team that is going to be chaired by Mahmoud Noor, and then it's going to have a representative of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, the Law Society of Kenya, Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, and we'll have the input as well and membership from the Kenya Revenue Authority, a member from the civil society, the business community. Mr. Ali Ahmed is here with us as well. And we're going to have the county secretary, chief officer of finance, the county attorney, and the secretariat will be at the office of the governor. The reason for this is very simple. We need to look at ways to optimize current collections. We need to look at ways on how we can be able to reduce the burden on the citizens of Mombasa. We gave a promise which we intend to keep. The next finance bill, which will not be part and parcel of this particular task report, the next finance bill will see a reduction in the PSV licenses. That means for the matatus and the tuk-tuks, we will see a reduction in the amount of money that they're paying. And then also, we are going to see the single business permits being joined into one, where someone does not have to pay matters of health separately, fire, and all these other issues. You just pay one single license. We're looking at ways as well to see certain institutions which, especially the hospitality, where instead of them also having many licenses, we try and figure out a way on how we can work together with KRA, and you pay us as and when you're able to do that particular business. There's something that is also a very ambitious plan that the county government will be doing, and that is an enactment of the Mombasa Revenue Services, which will be something similar to KRA, so that we don't have a situation where any single person starts, an Askari is currently walking. I think you want to check on the sound because it's going on and off. Is that better? Is that okay? Is that better? Yeah. Yes. So amongst the things that the task force will also be doing is to equally look at ways. One of the things that we talked about is sealing of loopholes. That means we do not want a situation where we're collecting money and then that money is just disappearing. So sealing of these particular loopholes. Again, I'm insisting on the fact that the economy of Mombasa is at a bad shape. So we cannot burden the citizens with extra amounts to be paid. However, we want to have an efficient way of collecting on-source revenue from the county. So the Mombasa Revenue Services is going to be a county corporation whose main role will be now to look at all on-source revenue from the county and have a DG. Of course, that is part of the recommendations that I'm expecting from the Task Force on Finance, so that we can be able to have one central point on on-source revenue of the county to be collected. And also as well, to liaise with the Office of the Auditor General in terms of the pending bills, and equally look at the projected income of the county vis-a-vis all the pending bills, and we come up with a payment solution for those who are genuine, verified pending bills as well. Needless to say, the county also has to go on with the agenda based on our manifesto and the projects that we intend to roll out. So these are some of the things that I'm requesting the task forces to be able to come up with. Considering that this particular task force is going to have an element of drafting laws, an element of looking at many other things, they are going to be, I've requested them to try and push it as much as possible up to 60 days. Meanwhile, this task force as well is going to come up with a rapid response initiative, and I'm glad that the team internally, before the task force has even been done, the team at the county itself has already started this. That means in terms of revenue collection, we're going to come up with a rapid response initiative with the same employees at the county. And I'm glad to note that just over a period of less than, I would say about 36 hours, in less than about 36 hours, we've already seen an improvement without necessarily hurting people, without necessarily harassing people, without necessarily increasing the amount of money that people have to pay, just by following down laws that are already there. We've seen already an increase of about 30%. So this is the direction that Mombasa wishes to take, where we're going to now involve every stakeholder on board. Fair enough? Any questions? Yes, Karim?
Governor, you have not spoken about the insecurity which is really going on and hurting. Just yesterday, a student.
Karim, we are here to talk about the issue of the task forces. I will answer your question, but first I would like, instead of us deviating, why don't we ask, and then also, this goes to you, Karim, as well, as much as it is a county that we all live in. I will answer you on the steps that I have personally taken on that. But I want to remind you that core mandate of security is national government. However, I will answer on the issues that I have already personally taken on regards to that. Meanwhile, before I answer Karim on that, are there any particular questions regarding these task forces? No. Karim, you will, NTV being NTV, but Karim, you will need, is it something in relation to the task force? I will be able to answer any other question that anyone has in regards to anything else. We will, of course, we'll have to check in terms of what the law actually says in terms of, we will give you. There's nothing wrong in actually providing targets and the current collection. We will be able to provide that for you. PSV, gari za PSV ni gari za PSV. So that includes taxes as well. Hakuna mambo ya kusema ya kwa hawatozwi hivyo pengine, lakini pia wangekuwa wamekuambia ya kwa nilikana wao na nikawapatia uhakikisho ya kwa finance bill na ukuja, ambayo tuna imani tutaweza kuipeleka kwa county assembly katika muda wa takriban wiki mbili, kwa sababu lazima iende public participation. Itakuwa kuna kupunguza idadi ya wanaolipa. Idadi ile ambayo kwamba inaolipwa itaweza kupunguzwa. Biashara mbili ambazo kwamba tumesema tutaangalia njia na lazima county assembly pia iweze kufungua, ni waandikie county assembly of Mombasa. Ya kwanza ni soko ambazo zilikuwa zimefungwa, na ya pili ni shule, hususan zile za kibinafsi zilikuwa zimefungwa, kwa hivyo ilikuwa hakuna mapato yoyote. Ni ahadi tulioitoa na tayari tushaandika, tunangojea county assembly iweze kuapishwa na ianze rasmi kazi yake, waweze kuidhinisha ile oda yangu ambayo kwamba nitakaoweza kuitoa. Mm.
Na ni jambo ambalo mimi mwenyewe nimekuwa mwathiriwa. Pengine hii task force kama inaweza kubadilisha hiyo sheria so that iondolewe mwananchi asipozwe na
Task force haibadilishi sheria. Sheria inabadilishwa na executive na county assembly, lakini task force wanatoa mapendekezo ya njia, na katika yale ambayo kwamba tunataka kuangalia currently hivi sasa hivi on source revenue streams ambazo kwamba ziko katika county, ukiziangalia zote kwa jumla zote, pamoja na vile vipengele vilioko katika zile sekta kubwa, zinafika karibu 1000 na kwa hivyo ni lazima tuangalie njia. Kuna fedha ambazo za kuweza kufanya biashara ndani ya soko, so ni lazima tuangalie njia, na watatoa mapendekezo, lakini kubadili sheria nataka tuliweke wazi. Kubadili sheria ni shuruti ya executive. Kama si executive, kuna executive member wa council, county member ambaye anaweza kutoa mapendekezo wa kubadili sheria, kisha kutoka hapo ndio iweze kufika kwangu niweze kuiweka sahihi, lakini watatoa mapendekezo yakiwemo ni hayo. Ni kilio ambacho kama tumekisikia. Cross border health issues ni majukumu ya serikali kuu. Ikiwa unatoa kutoka kwa nchi ya ng'ambo unaingia hapa, iwe ni kupitia barabara, unapitia bahari ama na kwa anga, ni jambo ambalo kwamba ni ya serikali kuu, na kawaida huwa kuna ilani inayoweza kutolewa kutoka kwa serikali kuu ya kwa kuna maradhi fulani na fulani na fulani, lakini pia ukumbuke ya kwa njia pekee ya mtu kutoka Uganda kuweza kuingia hapa ni either atoke na gari ambapo kwamba lazima ifike kutoka pande zile za boda ya kule pande za Busia, hata itoke huko ifike Nairobi, ifike all the way mpaka huko, ama wawe ni wenye kupanda ndege ambao kwamba sasa hivi itabidi atoke Entebbe ama Kampala ama kokote anakotoka aingie hadi Nairobi, na akifika Nairobi ndio aweze kufika hapa. So kuweza kutrack hiyo kwa upande wa serikali ya county peke yake itakuwa ni vigumu, lakini kuna yale ambayo ni tunasema ni advisory inayotolewa ama warning alert inayofaa kutolewa na serikali kuu kwa jambo lolote lenye kuhusiana na cross border infection. I think Karim, I had promised him kumjibu swali lake.
Lakini naomba unisikize.
Naam, nakusikiza.
Nimefurahi kama hii garbage inaondolewa.
Naam.
But let's look for a long-term way of having our city.
Okay.
Let's be honest. Nafikiri utakubali mimi na mwingine kwamba Mombasa ilikuwa imeharibika sana. For the last few weeks, graveyards zimejaa kila kitu. Alafu naomba namba tu. Hizi barabara zinaanza kutengenezwa. There are too many potholes all over.
Okay. You've asked me 3 questions. Can I answer all the 3?
And this task force that you have appointed should look into this thing.
No, the task force cannot look into the issues you've raised. The task force has issues that they have to look at, very, very specific and gazetted. We cannot have task forces that are going to run the county government. Task forces to come up with advisory. However, I would like to answer your 3 issues. You asked the first one on the issue of insecurity. I am aware outside that the ferry crossings, of course, the areas which are high in business density, we're also looking. Of course, this does not mean that we're going to stop there, but we have to start somewhere going outwards. Then thereafter as well, places outside hospitals and institutions of higher learning where we're going to have the students that are going to be there. We're hoping that that will be able to limit the issues of insecurity in and around those particular areas. The second issue that you talked about was the garbage collection. yes, we need a long-term solution. And the long-term solution is, as I have said, we have a Solid Waste Management Act that has already been enacted by the County Assembly, an act that has already been passed by national government. And we now need to inform the public on what this act is talking about, including at source, at garbage source, the issue of putting the garbage into different categories. That means solid, that means plastic, that means and the other. And then we're going to be issuing out an expression of interest. The expression of interest is going to be twofold. One, in terms of collecting that particular one. Secondly, we are looking at the long-term plans of saying, and I had said this, we're going to do this within the first 100 days. I want to remind everyone today, I think it's my 4th day in office, but in terms of after being sworn in, we're on day 7? 7. So within the first 100 days, we will be issuing out an expression of interest that is going to look at all aspects. One is from source all the way up to recycling. I get a lot of calls. And I've actually been very specific. I would prefer that we follow the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. I don't want people to individually come to the governor's office and start doing presentations, whereas we can be able to get many companies that can be able to do those particular presentations, due diligence done in the right manner, so that we do not start engaging people who it ends up being a false start. So yes, long-term solutions are already being looked into. But we cannot start saying that because a long-term solution is the only way, then we stop and we just continue. I have personally tasked the Deputy Governor, and we have already done whatever needs to be done to ensure that that backlog of garbage that is there, and one of the other things that we're also going to be doing is the Mombasa Inspectorate Bill. While we have the Mombasa Revenue Service, which will have an enforcement unit for purposes of revenue alone, we want the Inspectorate Bill to have arresting powers for those who are going to be seen that they're purposely throwing garbage all over. We will make life easy. We have even said that for those people who are commercial companies that are in the business of collecting garbage, we have gone ahead and said that in the next finance bill, we're waiving off any fees that will be paid at the dump site. We're saying that we're going to remove any illegal dump sites within Mombasa. That means we'll only have transfer points. Someone comes at a certain time, that notice will be available to the public where they're just mapping out Mombasa and bearing in mind the number of vehicles that the Environment Department has. We are right now already working with partners, and they're reviving the other vehicles that are currently grounded so that we can be able to have much more on that. And I think you asked the third question was about? Yes, there's a Mombasa County Roads Act as well. You will also be able to be in agreement with me that some of these roads are Kura roads. That means it is the Kenya Urban Roads Authority. But there's nothing that stops the county government from engaging these other state corporations that are in charge of doing these roads. And a perfect example is the road of Makerunge, which is a 2 billion shilling contract that joins Mombasa and Kilifi County. And coincidentally, it is the same road that now passes all the way from Shomoroni, Kembeni, all the way up to Makerunge, and further on it goes all the way to Kilifi County. And that is the passageway to go to Makerunge dump site. So we've already started engaging them. They've given us an assurance. I personally went on the ground and I saw that the contractor is currently on ground. We've only requested the contractor that they have 2 lots working simultaneously. One lot from the side of Kilifi coming towards Mombasa, and the other lot coming from Mombasa going towards Kilifi. It's, I'm told that they're going to be doing it into 11 lots in total, and I think each lot is at about 3 kilometers, so that means it's a 33-kilometer stretch. It is not a small project. However, what they're currently doing for that particular road is making sure that it is usable for the trucks that are going. For these ones that are within town, we will also be engaging the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority. Some of the roads within CBD of Mombasa itself, considering how Mombasa is, the roads within the CBD, some of them are actually Kenya National Highway Authority roads. Thank you very much.
Your parting shot, your parting shot after 7 days in office.
I see potential in adversity. I see growth. I see a people who had a lot of faith in us, and I'm glad that despite everything else, and maybe my parting shot as well to the media is report what you hear from me. Please do report what you hear from me. I know it's very easy to report things, and I know that some of our names, they sell news, but kindly do find time to report what you hear from me. Thank you very much.